Hello everyone, and welcome to Warframe Lore. Now, today we are talking about the ancient Orokin and the result of all their works and teachings, the Tenno. Now, let me see here. If I can't find art gallery, because why not? Frick's sake. There it is. Okay, whichever. Alright, now, beginning with the Orokin. The Orokin were ancient humans. Like, I'm talking centuries, millennia ago. Ancient humans. And they were strong enough that they banded together and forged what was called the Orokin Empire and ruled over the entire solar system for a period of time during what was known as the Orokin era. They built technology and masterpieces that would be unrivaled even by the greatest pieces of masterwork right now. They also made their descendants the Tenno and beings of balance and control. They came into to be when the Orokin sent their kin into the void. Although there's almost no information about the Orokins themselves, their technology, or their disappearance, but they do play a crucial part in the universe of Warframe. Let me see here. Now, when you enter the void, pretty much the little Orokin ships you go onto are parts of their Orokin ancient home. Okay, the parts of their ancient Orokin home that they purposely sent into the void, right? So what ends up happening is they go and they send their ships into little spaces that was known as the voids, so that way, and they put their treasures there as well, because the Orokin were very well known for their technologies and their pieces. The void is a secret location which houses the Orokin towers. These towers are equipped with many defenses mechanisms, including lethal laser traps, neural sentries to use the corrupt intruders, forcing them to fight for the tower's defenses. Basically saying what you go into the void and fight, like the corrupted heavy gunners, the corrupted lancers, the corrupted crewmen, even the corrupted ancient. Okay? They aren't actually ancient Orokins. They're the enemies from other factions that have foolishly gone into the Orokin void, and the neural sentries have brainwashed them. Okay, that's why they're all dipped in gold and they all say corrupted on them when you have your crosshairs on them. That's what they all say. The thing is, though, is that the reason why it doesn't affect us is because we're Tenno. It doesn't affect us because we are descendants of the Orokin. Alright. The Corrupted. The Corrupted are Orokin-controlled enemies found in the Orokin Void levels. These enemies consist of various normal Grineer, Corpus, and infested infantry, but are implanted with an unknown mind-control device that allows the Orokin neural sentries to control them. These enemies appear and behave similar to their normal counterparts. Their sole enemy they are the sole enemy of anything, basically. Anything that's not Orokin or anything that tries to steal the treasure, that they are enemies to. Their technology was so vast, so well known, so well made, is that the Corpus are hellbent on getting this technology. some of their technologies, like the Ospreys or the Moas, are perfect examples of them tinkering around with the Orokin technology. Okay. The Orokin language. The Orokin language was largely based upon English, but with much coarser, more often phonetic spelling. The characters are diagonally slanted and are often written left to right on a flat surface. Sound familiar? Vowels take the form of polarity symbols written above the regular characters. Okay, remember the polarities? The D, the V, and the dash. We'll get to those here very soon. The direction of writing frequency varies between both left to right of an object, presumably because it was copied and flipped from one side to the other. Although there are no live excerpts of the Orokin language to demonstrate how it was spoken, the Lotus, Ortis, the Tenno, and some of the Red Veil presumably understand and can speak ancient Orokin as their local language. However, given that the Stalker was also once part of the Orokin Empire, it is presumably that he also spoke their language, and it can be safely assumed that it is spoken with kind of a hissing kind of sound, spoken in a hissing, sibilant fashion. Now, as a side bonus, the Infested. Okay. The Infested are basically another counterpart. Not really a counterpart, but more of a... The Infestation is kind of the creation of ancient Orokins. And like all the time, whenever man tries to play God, crap goes a frickin' awry. Well, that's exactly what the hell happened to these buggers. The Infested was meant to be as a defense mechanism that was to attack. Okay? It was meant to be used as kind of like a war mechanism. During the war that was known as the Sentience, the Orokin utilized the Infestation as a way to combat them. Most notable example of this is the giant Lamphus, aka a giant infested boss that you'll have to farm a Delaric assassination mission. What the hell just happened? What the fuck? Okay, so apparently all-wheel drive is always good for the Infestation. Now, the Lamphus is an infested assassination mission in a Delaric, and you will farm this to get Necros. Very little information remains of what their goals have or may have been, but this shows that the Orokin had mastery over organic and technological aspect. Now, the Sentience and in the Infested, we will be getting more into later, as they're all intertwined into the old war. Let me see here. Now, as for the Orokin, the end of that is done. However, the Tenno is still much unknown. And the Tenno are descendants of the ancient and mythical civilization of ancient warriors from the Orokin era on Earth. Preserved in cryopods for centuries, the Tenno now reawaken to a new war, fighting and resisting warring factions as a sole bearers of the Orokin created Warframes. While the memories of the Tenno have faded, their mastery of guns and blades and the Warframe exo-armor has not. fragments of history suggest that discipline and chivalry, I can't pronounce the word, are the cornerstone values of the Tenno. This is somewhat true today. The Tenno are emerging into a new, unfamiliar world, and the ones who see, one sees a noble warrior building his strength against an oppressing regime, another sees an opportunist mercenary, exploiting the Warframe's superiority for wealth. Regardless of their future, the Tenno stand united against a common foe, loyal only to each other. Now, the Sentients had won. They turned our weapons and our technology against us. The more advanced we became, the greater our losses. The war was over unless we found a new way. In our desperation, we turned to the void. The blinding night, the hell space where our science and reason failed. We took the twisted few that we had remained from what that place was. We built a frame around them, a conduit of their affliction, gave them weapons of the old ways, gun and blade, a new warrior, a new code was born. These rejects, these Tenno, became our saviors, warrior gods cast in steel and fury, striking our enemies in a way that we could never comprehend. Excalibur was the first. Quoting that from one of the Orokins, the ancient Orokins had written that. Now, as they just said, Excalibur was the first Warframe to be made. There was an ancient old war. I know I say ancient a lot because literally that's what it is. It was over a millennia ago, almost, if not more. But they made extremely strong things, and they themselves were weak. But they made a thing. They made a type of weapon, a race, I guess you could say. And they used those to fought an old war, basically. It's now named as the Old War, the war between the old Orokins and the Sentients. The Tenno are exactly what we are. We play as a Tenno. Okay. And the Tenno is a suit of armor called a Warframe. Go figure. The combat skills and Warframes are vastly superior to both the corpus of high technology and the Grineer's vast numbers. Now, there is another part of lore in the Tenno that when we get to the quests in this lore series, I will explain that part. I will explain the sentience and something that also links between the sentience, the Tenno, and the Lotus altogether. The weapons that the Corpus use are mainly energy. Mainly energy. They use plasma rifles, they use energy beams. Okay, the Quanta is a good example. Okay, it's two beams that it can be having a secondary fire that explodes, that it throws explosive cubes. And you can have multiple out there, unless it touches. Then everything that's around it, and they themselves go kablooey. Now, the Orokin, no, not the Orokin. The Tenno's weaponry, they were trained to be masters of their warframes, of any weapon they could get their hands on, and any melee weapon they could get their hands on. Whether it be Grineer, Corpus, Orokin, or something that is handcrafted for themselves only. They could use it, they mastered it, and they could basically whop anyone's ass with it easily. Okay. And the ones who kind of act, the one who act as kind of a guidelight, I guess you could say a guideline for all of them, is the Lotus. Upon revival from the cryostasis, the Tenno is guided by a figure known as the Lotus, asserting preservation of her people by any means necessary. The Lotus dispatches and guides Tenno through missions and of espionage, sabotage, defense, exterminations, interceptions, rescues on any of these missions. The Lotus guides the Tenno using audio commands transmitted through an unknown location. Like the rest of the Tenno culture, she remains shrouded in mystery. Through one of the quests named Nata, which we will get to here in the next few episodes, it will shine more light of her origins, as well as the one that comes after that. The second Dream Quest will actually shed more light on us. The vehicle that we use to constantly move around, it was named an Orbiter. An Orbiter is a spacecraft used by the Tenno to travel throughout the solar system to and from missions. They also act as the Tenno's mobile base, carrying all of their various equipments, their arsenal of weapons, and an Orokin AI named Ordis. And Ordis kind of controls the ship, kind of. He is it's literally, he is so advanced, made by the Orokin, that it's quite literally having another person there. He is self-aware of himself. He is, think of Cortana from Halo, but male, whole lot of shitty puns, and slightly glitched. Because when you first get done with your first quest, or aka the tutorial, Vor's Prize, you find out that the Grineer have actually captured your ship, stripped it of all of its parts, and actually damaged some of Ordis's programming. So whenever he goes, like say, whenever he talks, he'll glitch out, or he'll turn for a certain period of time, his attitude will change to become very bloodthirsty, very, very warlust, I guess you could say, murderous, even. But his main programming was supposed to be a very kind, caring of the operator, or aka us, or a very kind of like a butler, I guess you could say. A good example of him switching I guess you could say his personality is whenever he'll say, operator, were you thinking of a bloody battle? He'll glitch out and say, me too, and he'll quit. He'll stop the transmission or stop speaking or whatnot. But anyway, the Tenno is, think of space ninjas. Okay. Now, there is actually, I am actually using Valkyr right now, okay? And there have been several indentations that a Tenno lives outside of a Warframe. Like, the dude that I'm controlling, okay? Like, you go back into your arsenal, and you're able to switch out, in and out, any of these, ever so easily, with just a click of a button. Boop. Now we're one Warframe. Boop. Now we're another Warframe. Okay. And now we're another one. It just... there's a lot of indentations that we don't actually live inside these Warframe exosuits. They actually are controlled by us. Okay, there's several hints at it. Um, Another good hint was a good example of Excalibur here, or not Excalibur, Valkyr. Okay, this girl. Valkyr is was actually a Warframe, or Tenno rather, that was captured by the Corpus, had her Warframe ripped off of her, hence the reason why her skin is all red, and she actually died in the process. But the reason why they were doing this was to try and use her parts to be made into what was called a Zanuka, okay, of the Corpus Proxies. But in the process of doing so, they ripped the skin off of her, killed her in the process, and because of this, it was very traumatic for her. It being extremely pissed off, you actually go farm Alad V on Jupiter to find parts for her. And because she was so mad, all of her anger, her fury, and her rage was all transferred into the parts that is left behind that you actually farm Alad V for. And when you fully build it, you still inherit all of that rage and fury that Valkyr harbored, basically, because of what happened to her. She is quite literally the female berserker in Warframe. The bonds on her elbows, actually don't come with her. I have kind of augmented with a few. Here, I can show you what she looks like. Or maybe not. No, maybe we need to go to appearance. Wah! What the hell? Yeah. Well, anyway. Here we go. I can go to my codex. Let me see here. Here we go. I don't know if you can see that too well. But she's in her hysteria here, and you can see the bonds aren't on her arm. And this is what she looks like normally. She actually has, on her forearm, she actually has silver, right there, I don't know if you can see that or not, Corpus restraints going through her arm, okay, and it actually is on one side of her arm, and the bars are going through her arm, through her bone. And that's the reason her Valkyr bonds is a augment. There's the part that's on her forearm, and it's actually going through. And the reason is because it was noted as a rumor one of the strongest, physically strong Warframes in the entire universe of Warframe was Valkyr. The only other one that could top her in physical strength was Rhino. So this being the cause, they had to restrain her with several umpteen gabillion restraints just to hold her still while they were doing their procedures on her. They had to hold her down through her arms, around her wrists, her ankles, and around her neck, around her waist, cords around her elbows, back through the elbows, and probably around the knees, just to hold her still. Okay, and even then they had a hard time trying to get her where they wanted her. And the reason why she died was, well, before I say that, let me ask you this question. Which do you think that a Tenno is? Do you think a Tenno is actually wearing these Warframes that, even though the animation when you switch Warframes in your arsenal doesn't actually show you actually slipping out of one Warframe and going into another Warframe? Or do you think these Warframes are controlled? Huh? That we guide these Warframe exosuits? And that everything that they feel, we feel as well? So whenever they get damaged, we get damaged, and if they die, so do we. Through neural links, I guess you could say. What do you think? I'll be answering that one in another video. The second Dream Quest and the Nata Quest will actually reveal a lot about this subject. Next time, we'll be focusing on Warframes. Ash or Ash Prime, I don't know which one, but we'll go down the list. Either way, but that is the origins of the Orokin, of the Tenno, and a little bit of backstory on Valkyr here. Okay. In any case, I'm going to leave this one here. If you liked it, give it a like and subscribe, a follow and a share. Excuse me. And if I'm getting anything wrong, okay, down in the comments below, do tell. And I will be able to look up more on it and possibly correct myself. Okay. Anyway, I'm going to leave this one here. Share with all your friends. If you're new to the channel, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, the follow on my Twitch, either one. And if you are mainly Twitch viewer and you want to rewatch some of my content, go to my YouTube, because 90% of my streams that I do, of my recordings that I do, is on Twitch, and then moved over to my YouTube, because videos on Twitch decay over time, because that's just how Twitch is. It's kind of annoying, but then again, it's kind of understandable, because it's mainly just for live stream. But in any case, if you liked watching, then do stay tuned, and I will have more of this out later. See you all in the next one. Later!